Hello everyone. Let's now begin to address one of the most important topics in understanding the importance of prayer and how prayer affects our bodies and the environment and the universe in which we are all immersed. So, learn is a big word. We reminded ourselves, just as we learned at school, that the real structure of our physical body is made up of atoms. I have often enjoyed asking young people, students, what is the importance of knowing how our body is structured? Often the question I ask is this: how is our body structured? And the best ones, but I'm talking about 5-10%, come and tell me that we are made of atoms, because most of them talk to me about organs or about cells. Hardly anyone answers me, we are made of atoms. And when that answer comes, I always say, and so, what does that mean? What is an atom? How is it important for our daily lives to know what an atom is made of? Do you realize the importance of this? So, what is an atom? The atom is the structure with which prayer interacts. This is an essential concept to understand. It is the structure with which prayer interacts. So, in a very rough way, we can say that an atom is like the solar system. Physicists don't like that. I have spoken many times with important physicists, with university professors, to exchange ideas on this subject. To say that an atom is like a solar system is a very simple example. To explain things to those who don't want to delve into it or don't want to get a headache. But the concept is very clear. What happens? In our solar system, we have the sun standing at the center. Okay? And then we have the planets revolving around themselves, practically, and revolving around the sun. So we have the sun, we have Venus, Saturn, Mercury, the Earth. All these planets revolve around a nucleus. Clear? So what happens? An atom, that is, all atoms are made this way. We have a nucleus. Inside this nucleus there are particles that are called protons and neutrons. Let's not be frightened by these names. Particles. Let us imagine in an extremely rough way that in the nucleus there are little balls. We call these balls protons and we call them neutrons. What's the difference? The neutron is a little bit bigger than the proton. It has a neutral electric charge. That's why it's called neutron. Whereas protons have a positive electric charge. We think that within the nucleus of the atoms that structure our bodies, there are particles that have electrical characteristics. Energy, let's begin to think about this. Energy, protons and neutrons. Protons have a positive charge, neutrons have a neutral charge. Clear? Around the nucleus of the atom gravitate other particles that we call electrons. This is something I'd like to elaborate on, because I often say that we tend to study subjects in watertight compartments. We study physics, religion, philosophy, we study mathematics, and we don't integrate them. Instead, it is essential to integrate them, because integrating them means understanding life. So our atoms, which structure our body, are our true anatomy. Have a nucleus that is made of neutrons and protons, particles characterized by electric charges. And they have other particles which are about 2,000 times smaller. Electrons are almost 2,000 times smaller compared to a proton, which revolve around this nucleus and have a negative electric charge. So again, an electric component. Are you with me? To every negative electric charge of an electron, so to every electron corresponds a proton that has a positive charge. Here we enter another amazing world, which is that of polarity. That is, all of nature is organized in a polar manner, in the sense that the positive corresponds to the negative. It works just like a battery, positive and negative. We must understand the atoms that structure us are electromagnetic structures whereby at the center we have a nucleus with particles characterized by electric charges, and around this nucleus gravitate electrons, which are also characterized by electric charges. Do you understand this thing? This is us. But now, let's explore another topic that is even more extraordinary. Do you know how fast an electron revolves around a nucleus? It's an insane speed. We are talking about more or less 900 kilometers per second. 900 kilometers per second. What does that mean? It means that if I leave Como, we are in Italy, I leave Como, and I want to go towards south of Italy. 900 kilometers, I almost reach Reggio Calabria. Can you imagine the speed? 1 second. 1 second. So, imagine this. Imagine that you want to get out of your house through the main gate. You have a house, and there is a gate leading to a road, and you have to cross the road because your car is parked on the other side. What do you do before you cross the road? You look right and left, there is no cars, no scooters, no truck, no bus. I cross the road. What happens? If you see a car in the distance that is approaching, our brain registers its speed, roughly. In the sense that it says, look at this car, it goes very slowly, I'll cross the road. Or you see the car going a bit faster, so you cross the road faster. If the car goes real fast, what do? You wait for it to pass, and then right after you cross the road because you have calculated its speed, because you don't want to be run over. It's obvious, right? What happens? Imagine that you are a child, or yourself, doesn't have to be a child, that you want to go inside an atom. I want to go inside the atom because I want to get to the nucleus. I have my spaceship, I go between one electron and the other because the electrons go around in the orbits of the atom, and I want to go inside. Calculate that these electrons are actually not like the planets in the solar system because they gravitate around the nucleus following orbitals that have a well-defined shape. Many of them move closer to or further away from the core. They have various shapes. That's why physicists, when I say that I describe the electron as the solar system, are not very happy. But just to give you an idea, it works more or less like this. However, let's be clear. I want to go inside the atom. And what do I find? I find electrons flying around me at 900 kilometers per second. And how do I get inside? Because if I have a car which at 900 kilometers per second goes around in a circle and always passes the road in front of my house, how can I cross it to go and get my car, which is parked in the car park on the other side of the road? Will I be able to cross the road? Ask yourself this question. No, you won't. You won't. Because you'll surely be hit. What happens is that an atom is made like this. We have electrons that at supersonic speeds, at 900 kilometers per second, gravitate around the nucleus. And what happens? It's that I can't get in, because no matter where I try to enter the outer surface of the atom, I am sure to be hit by the electrons. Impossible. I can't get in. So I stay outside. I also created an image that I'll show later, where like a child throwing rubber balls because he's afraid, I say, and if I get hit, what happens? I take these rubber balls, I throw them and they bounce. I throw them and they bounce. I throw them and they bounce. And practically I never can get inside. I can't get inside because I get hit. Clear? So, what is the main principle that I want you to understand? It's that the speed of electrons, and there was the physics Nobel Prize winner, Werner Heisenberg, who says we practically can't establish where the electron is and how fast it goes. Because if I establish where it is, I can't establish its speed. If I establish the speed, I don't know where it is, but it's there. I have the certainty that if I try to go inside, I bounce against this electron. And what is the fundamental concept to understand? That it is the electron's speed that structures the matter, the speed. That is, our physical body is defined by the speed of these electrons. If I touch my hand, if I touch my face, if I touch these glasses, if I touch any object, I touch against electrons that are gravitating at 900 kilometers per second. This is the important thing to understand. If I theoretically stopped these electrons, if I had a button to press that stops them, what happens? The matter disappears, because between the electrons and the nucleus of the atoms, there is a vacuum of 99.99%. Do you understand that? And the electrons that gravitate around the nucleus are the same electrons that flow inside the electric current that runs the battery in our car and the electrical system in our house. They are the same. Do you understand what it means when I say that we are a pure electromagnetic structure? That is the concept to understand. We are made of atoms. Atoms are a pure electromagnetic structure, and the volume of matter is given by the speed of the electrons. If I stop these electrons, if I stop them, matter disappears. Imagine that of the nucleus, such a small percentage would remain in our body. If I stopped everything, that it would be about the size of a pinhead. In other words, if I were to add up all the nuclei of our atoms, if I were to make the electrons disappear, if they were to stop and thus no longer able to delimit this 99.99% vacuum, our percentage, our amount of matter would be the size of a pinhead. But beware, neutrons in turn are decomposable into protons and electrons. Nuclear physics teaches us this. Protons, in turn, are decomposable into other smaller particles called quarks. Let's call them subparticles. All of our electrons, protons and neutrons are decomposable into even smaller subparticles, more or less 200, which ultimately have a lowest common denominator. Do you know what it is? A wave of energy. So, let's understand this. Our atoms, which are the real building blocks of our physical body, are structured from particles that are pure energy particles. The volume of our atom, a 99.99%, practically doesn't exist because it's the delimitation given by the speed of the electrons. It's like when we leave the house. If we try to cross the road, we are run over by the car going at 900 kilometers per second. Hitting against this car, we think there is a wall, we think there is matter, but in reality, no. It's a car that goes so fast that it's omnipresent in all the places, because it's so fast that we can't perceive the spaces between one passing and another of this car. If we cross the road, we will always be hit, because the car is so fast that it's practically in every place, always. That's how matter is made. So the important thing to understand is that the difference between us and an animal, a tree, a rock, a planet, a galaxy, a star is 99.99%? No, it's 0.01%. It means that the difference between us and everything else is 0.01. So, what's the truth that comes out of this concept, which I consider revolutionary? That we are a part of everything. For when we walk in a forest, swim in the sea, when we walk on a mountain path, when we read a book, when we perform any act of our life, we must realize that we are an essential part of the whole, that we have a structure that is exactly the same as have all the objects around us. This is the main concept to understand. Get this concept well in your head, because this is a concept that will change our lives. This is a concept that will change our lives. We have a physical structure composed of atoms, like everything around us, and the difference between us and the whole is 0.01. Let's talk about another thing that we must understand, which is very important. Our nuclei, the nuclei of atoms, are composed of neutrons and protons. It's not that they are stationary particles. Imagine the sun. Do you think it's a stationary entity? Do you realize the temperatures and what happens on the sun? Then imagine that the protons and neutrons between them do this. They move apart and they move closer together. When they move away from each other, there are forces of attraction that cause them to come together. When they start to come close, there are forces of repulsion that cause them to move apart, so they do this work. Do you know at what speed? 60,000 kilometers per second. Imagine almost a lap and a half around our entire planet Earth in a second. Understand something else too. The atomic bomb, which unfortunately created carnage in Hiroshima and Nagasaki in World War II, was based on these nuclear forces. So, let us begin to understand this. Our physical body is structured of atoms. An atom is a pure electromagnetic structure. It is energy. Matter is determined by the speed. It is created by the speed of electrons. If the electron stopped, it would disappear. We can't enter an atom, and we can't enter it because the electrons are too fast. If they stopped, everything would disappear. So, what are we? What are we? What are we? Do you know? Do you realize? Start thinking. Whether we like it or not, this is the structure. This is the real structure of our physical body. It is true that we have the heart, we have the lungs, it is true we have the pancreas, it is true we have the kidneys, it is true we have the cells, it is true we have the molecules, but we have atoms. And what are atoms? They are pure electromagnetic structures. If you begin now to observe your life from this point of view, you will see that the quality of your daily life will be higher, because you will realize that you are protagonists of a wonderful world in which we are all immersed, because we are little universes. And it's not that I'm telling you, I'm saying this to you because you have to have faith, believe it. No, it's not that. You don't have to have faith. It's obvious. That's how it is. There is science, which the effort I'm trying to make is to integrate it. It's an integrated science that makes subjects that are often interpreted as being so hostile be brought down to earth and be used to give concrete help to our daily lives. Because the fact that we understand that we are made of atoms really changes our days. Because we will see that we can constantly come into contact with these atoms. That is, they are living entities, alive, interacting with us. I hope I haven't bored you, and I'll talk to you in our next sessions.
Sei contenta? Che l'altro l'ho vista, ha avuto un bel numero di visualizzazioni, eh? Guarda, ti faccio vedere, guarda, ti faccio vedere. È esploso sotto Natale il canale proprio. Perfetto, qui allora file, salviamo il progetto. Ok.